sporting, motivational, entrepreneurial, travel, music, those who just have an interesting story. So guys, welcome back to the Frankly Nuts podcast, episode number 4. You can see it's a bit different this week. It's only myself and Joe. We have no guest.
We're all on our lonesome, yeah. I suppose a lot of people asked us to talk about ourselves a lot, and get to know us, I suppose. Because I'm looking forward to this, really, to be honest, because
I'm sick of watching it back and being typically a yes man.
We're kind of losing our brand a bit, we want to express ourselves a bit more, and we're getting very much into the situation where we're just asking, "How are you today, sir?" and then the answer, and it's like, "Oh, very good
next
answer."
Question. And we're looking, and we're plowing on.
Let's express ourselves a bit.
Exactly. So this week's podcast is just going to be purely based on, we have a few questions here that we want to get across ourselves. We asked you to send in some questions as well. We got loads. We have them here on the iPad. We're going to answer all of them as well. And then at the end, we're just going to do a bit of a what's hot, talk about things that are going on in the world today, topical events. So the first question that we're going to talk about today is, how did the podcast come about?
Yeah.
How did this idea originate? Do you want to start it and I just chip in with my
idea
halfway through?
Different ideas,
opinions,
how it came about. So for me, the podcast started.
It's really an idea a few months ago even.
I suppose both of us would both be interested in podcasts and vlogs and YouTube and things like that. And we would have, we met each other through college first of all.
Yeah,
and we both would have been interested in these things. And I suppose we got started talking about them. And you come into college in the morning and be like, "Oh, did you see Joe Rogan's podcast last night, or the True Geordie podcast last night?" So then I think I started talking about buying a camera. I'd messed around with a few home videos and things like that, and I started talking about buying this Canon G7X camera in the summertime when I got paid. So it's like 700 quid or something like. So
very expensive.
I had big hopes, and I suppose we talked about messing around and making a few vlogs and things like that, just for a bit of a laugh, we had spoken about going to Utrecht in the Netherlands, so we were there for a week.
Yeah, we were there in January. Absolutely
year,
savage, unbelievable.
Week. And
best week I'd say of the college year, really. 2 years in CIT, definitely.
And so we'd spoken about going to Utrecht, going back again for semester 2 of our college course. So we were talking about setting up vlogs for that, and then I suppose you kind of said podcasts, we could do a podcast over in Utrecht and things like that, and I was like, and
he was not on board at the start. He was very kind of.
I was like, yeah, sure, thinking
apprehensive.
I'm never going to do this. I'll never put myself out there like this. And I suppose you pushed it on. Then really, you researched equipment, and you checked out office space and things like that.
Yeah, we checked out a few different places.
It was picking up speed bit by bit, and I was just like, oh Jesus, I don't have to let myself in for here. And so I suppose eventually I got more and more. And then you dropped a bomb on me one day then.
Not many people know, so it's going to be a bomb on people at home here now as well.
Drop bombs everywhere.
Yeah.
So this fella then decided to drop bomb me one day, saying that he was having surgery in June.
5th of June I think it was.
The surgery, then he decided to tell me it was brain surgery. So then I was fully gifted into it, and I
lowered him in, just brought him into the podcast,
and that it would be such a lovely project for him to do while he was recovering from that, and basically guilt tripped into it, and here we are today, I suppose, episode 4, and we're enjoying it so far.
Yeah, it was solely an idea at the start. We didn't think it would pick up this much. We then found out about the Student Inc. program in CIT, so we applied, and literally we thought of this as an idea. And within a week, the idea had to be written down on paper. We had to know our target market. We had to know everything kind of businessy about the idea. We applied then for the Student Inc. We got it, thankfully. We've been in here now for the summer, and it's really worked out for us. It's helped us really massively.
And the Rubicon Centre has been really good to us. So it's great to just kind of get this start.
It really pushed it forward a lot. If we didn't have this, I'd say it would have been, the set wouldn't look as good as it does. I don't think. We wouldn't have had the money either to buy a lot of the things. We would have went cheap on the equipment. But that's how the podcast came about, really. We're here now today. And
guilted into it. He's still with us today anyway. So
the brain surgery went well anyway. We can talk about that at another stage. It was actually, there's a big story behind it, but there's a nice big scar at the back of the head, but we'll get into that at another stage. We've plenty to talk about ourselves in the next few podcasts. Joe is a big bombshell as well, but we'll go on to the next one. The work behind the scenes, so what goes on behind the scenes in planning the podcast, there's actually a lot. This isn't just a case of we meeting up, setting up the equipment and filming, like there's a lot has to go into this.
There is, yeah. So I suppose at the moment we have no fixed abode. Like,
No,
we're
it's
kind of
good,
moving from
yeah.
room to room, whatever's available. As we're such a young podcast, like, you know, we don't have our own space at the moment, so we're moving from room to room. And like on the day of setup, you'll be setting up for an hour, hour and a half, and you know, it probably takes another half an hour to take it down.
Take it down, yeah. Jeez.
Beyond that, then you're looking at the editing process, and I suppose I would do some of the editing, and it would take, geez, it could take 4 or 5 hours per podcast, like, you know,
Yeah,
depending, like, and well, we're lucky that some of the lads actually in the Student Inc. that we know, Oil Media, big shout out to the boys, check them out, Oil Media
on
on
Instagram,
Facebook, Instagram, whatever, you'll see them, they have big pink graphics.
their
so
work is savage, lads. Really
those
check
lads
it out.
are very sound to us, and any questions we have, they always answer for us.
Yeah, they have no
like,
problem
you know,
helping us out. Like it's good when you have people like that as well, because we're only learning, and like Joe just mentioned there, the early media lads, they have no problem helping us media wise or editing wise if we have any questions. So it's handy to
They're
have
really
people
nice
like
lads,
that. Yeah.
And I suppose what else do we have involved? Getting guests.
Guests is the big thing.
Yeah.
Like you just see the guests on the show, but behind us, like we're not, like we have to sit down. We have a list of about 50 names at the minute, and trying to plan on who you want this week. We don't just want it to be fitness every week. We don't want it, but we want to be diverse. We want to be different every week. So even if you have suggestions, guys at home, if you want to send in suggestions of fashion bloggers, models, makeup artists, sports people you'd like to see, entertainers, local actors, actresses, whoever, he just hit the mic again. That could be another blooper,
I'm
guys.
having awful trouble sitting.
But yeah, the guests is a big thing for us. Like,
but yeah, we're open out. Like, we're willing to jump from world to world to world. Like, you know,
Yeah,
sport to
definitely.
fashion to music to entertainment, into it all. Like, you know, we want to learn at the same time. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So
and the set is a bit portable as well. Like it is, like if there's someone you know that we could go to an interview or do a podcast with, we'll slash interview. I hate the word interview, but if we could sit down and have a chat with, we'd be more than happy to meet them as well. As Joe touched on earlier, we actually don't have a set room yet. So if you know of any room space as well, definitely let us know.
Out there.
Yeah, plug, as they say. So the next question that we wanted to talk about before we get on to the fan questions is talk about the set. So there was actually a lot of planning went into the actual set, because the idea behind it, I suppose, was that we'd keep it kind of relaxed, nice, kind of modern, retro as well at the same time.
Yeah. Chilled
But-
and cool, I suppose.
Yeah, do you want to touch on that there for a bit?
Yeah, so like the set itself is portable, as we just said. Like this old screening here behind us is bamboo garden screening. You pick it up in any garden centre or anything.
Jeez,
so
that coffee's really hot. I just burnt my tongue. Go on
for
anyway.
you. So yeah, it's portable set, and we decided to just add on some cool posters and stuff. So we've one here behind me with James Dean, Humphrey Bogart, Elvis
Presley,
Marilyn Monroe. Sure, like you gotta have Marilyn Monroe in
Marilyn,
there.
yeah.
Lady in Red, she's beautiful. And Dane, look, you couldn't have a set without Ron Burgundy, you know, Anchorman.
One of our
classic
favourite films,
movie.
yeah.
I'd have it up there with anything like. And then we've a couple of bits here by actually a digital artist. You know him, don't you?
Yeah, Dasbrack. Like you can look at these here, guys. We'll put up photos. We'll actually link him below in the description box. We'll link his Instagram so you can have a look. But we have Muhammad Ali, we have a Mayweather McGregor poster, and we also have kind of a McGregor poster here as well, but it's mimicking the Muhammad Ali one from years ago.
And like this guy, he's on Instagram, Dosbrak, DOSBRAK.
Yeah.
And this guy like is
He's
Joe
phenomenal, like.
Rogan, Nate Diaz,
Brendan
like,
Schaub, he's
yeah.
done one recently of him.
These guys are always shouting them out.
Yeah.
Like Nate Diaz's profile picture on Instagram
Yeah.
is a Dosbrak drawing, like so.
Coach Kavanagh as well, constantly liking his stuff on Instagram, interacting with him on Instagram.
So he's a big UFC MMA kind of artist, I suppose.
Yeah,
He's
I think that's his main thing. So, if,
Yeah.
like, if you're interested in any of the prints or whatever, check him out. He'll
Yeah.
I
Sick
definitely
stuff.
recommend it. Yeah. So the name Franklin Nuts. How did we come up with the name Franklin Nuts?
So the name was interesting. Obviously, we didn't want to have a name that's the same as any other name. Like, you know, it had to be absolutely unique for us. And I suppose what we did was sit down and said, what are we all about? Like, you know, and
we
what
did.
We want the whole thing. I think I've said it before. Is we want to keep it open and honest, while also fun and lighthearted and
Yeah.
loose. Like, and we're gonna have different podcasts. Some are gonna be just absolutely banterful, like, and others will probably be more serious and, you know, deeper conversations.
It depends on the guest
Yeah.
as well, like, you know, their
So,
story and everything.
Some will be frankly and some will be kind of nuts, like, I
yeah.
suppose, and that's what we came about. I actually have a list on my phone here of all the suggested names. Like,
There's a
I
few
was
poor ones here now,
racking
guys.
my brains there now. for weeks thinking about it.
It was actually very hard to come up with the name. That was probably one of the toughest things at the start when we had the student ink form and the name of the business. Trying to come up with a name, guys, it's definitely one of the hardest things because you want something that is unique and is going to catch people's eyes, but you also want it to be sort of kind of, what's the word now I'm looking for? You want it to catch the eye, but also you want it to be kind of business-like as well. So Joel's going to read out a few of the suggestions
some
we did
of the names we had. This one we actually nearly went for was laying it on the table.
Yeah, we were very up for that at the start.
Laying it on the table.
Let us know what you think about that one, guys, in the comment box below.
That's boring.
Laying it on the table. Podcast number 1.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to flow to it, really, does it?
Then beyond that, we had on the table, cards on the table, gents on the table.
Very table orientated, guys.
Claim to be a gent. I don't know, like self-praise is no praise, as they say. Like
that's me to the side. Like
stories on the table. I can't believe I actually put that into text. Stories on the table.
I just can't believe we had so many on the table.
That was all me, really. And then all in your head, all the aces.
I don't mind that one, all the aces. I thought that would have been a bit kind of funky again, but
yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah. It's not the worst of them.
Anyway. Late to go back now. So we had frankly nutty, frankly loose, frankly nuts, then which we settled on, Frank Nutters, Frank and Nutty on the table. I loved that one actually at the time, but then I said it to my dad and he was like, people are going to think one of you is Frank and one of you is Nutty or something like, which I wouldn't mind either. Like. Dial it back. Yeah, and that's the list I had.
Yeah, I can't even remember half of them. Like, I can't believe we went for so many on the table as well. Like, it was just, we obviously had a bit of a team going there.
We kind of thought we'd be sitting at a table originally when we had planned, like, I suppose. So
yeah,
that's kind of where I was getting a lot of those from. Yeah, so what else do we have on our agenda?
So that was the main stuff we wanted to get across at the start, really, was just tell you how did the podcast come about, the work that goes on behind the scenes for it all. We talked to you about the set and we discussed the name. So we're actually going to move on to the fan questions that we asked for. So we put this out on Snapchat, we put it out on our Instagram, we put it out on our Facebook. So if you haven't followed us or liked us yet, so like us on Facebook, it's just Frankly Nuts. Our Instagram is the same. Our Snapchat is frankly_nuts. Just keep up to date with us on that. So we got a lot of questions on that. I'm plugging mad here, guys. Really want to get the following.
We need to settle down in the plugging. We've got a bit crazy. Speaking of plugging, actually, right, here's a free plug. Insomnia Coffee. You have it on us. Here's a free plug. If anyone from Insomnia Coffee is watching this and wants to sponsor our podcast,
we'd be more than happy, guys.
Or even look, if there's any better coffee companies out there, work away.
We won't name any. We have a few in mind, guys, but look, we don't want to.
We love podcasts. We love coffee. Do you know?
Exactly.
It's a match made in heaven, really.
So the first question that was sent in to us was, what are our future aspirations individually and as a duo going forward with the podcast?
Okay. Do you want to go first or like?
Yeah, you go. Work away.
Individually, finish college, obviously, business degree, and I don't know what I want to do with my life. To be honest with you, I know I want to travel everywhere and anywhere. It's a massive passion of mine, travelling. Really want to get to Canada, Australia, Thailand, Bali, those kind of places. I know they're all pretty mainstream now at the moment, like, and I like to get
everyone's
things
going there, yeah.
Everyone's going there, but yeah, haven't been in any of them and really like to see there. I've been to the States a few times, so you know I kind of tick that off really, I suppose. Travelling, and geez, I still don't know what I want to do with my life. I'm 25. And I still don't know. I've been to college twice, so I actually went to UCC first and did an arts degree, and was really way too immature at the time. Like, you know, even the time I did my leaving cert, I was way too immature and didn't know what I wanted to do. So I stumbled into an arts degree, started thinking, geez, what will I do inside here? Did economics and maths.
One of the worst things to do.
Yeah, just thinking I'd get an alright degree out of it. And then economics and maths. Struggled with the maths big time, like absolutely stupid decision from me. Did pass maths for the leaving, but decided to do maths in college anyway, which is beyond leaving cert honours, which are like, and failed my way through that, and eventually got an old degree out of it. And then sat back and I was like, what do I actually want to do with my life? Look back, I was like, at the time I was like, the only thing I'm interested in is sport. 22 years of age, what am I going to do? Applied, came in here to CIT, recollection degree, wanting to do something in sport. As I've gone on through it, then I've almost enjoyed the business side of things more, so we're going on to finish with a business degree, and I suppose the thing has come full circle really, like, but I still don't know what I want to do.
You still don't know what you want to do.
Hopefully we go full-time podcast, and that'd be
that's what I was just about to touch on. Like, for me individually going forward, I want, obviously, we'll finish this year, we'll finish college, we'll get our business degree, we'll have our 3 years of Rec done as well. And then going forward, I really just want to take a year and go ahead at the podcast, just work at it, see where this can go. If it's at a stage then after a year where we say, we can go at this full time, let's go ahead with this, or look, we have to pack this up and focus on something else, then that's something I'd have to think about. But like you, after leaving Cert, I took a year out because I hadn't a clue what I wanted. I don't think anyone knows what they want to do after leaving Cert. You're too young, you're kind of pressured into picking something. Some people are like, their parents might influence their decision. Oh, you should do this course, you should do this. But I think I just didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. It was handy for me that my father owned his own business, so I went and worked with him for a year.
Yeah.
Then got into Rec and Stefan Nefa, did 2 years there on Tremor Road. Then came into CIT, still not knowing if Rec was something I wanted to do. I was just like, it's sort of like an easy kind of course to do. People kind of think that Rec is, you're in a classroom, you're drinking protein shakes, throwing balls around the room, but I kind of had this idea that it would be a nice course to get. I'd have a college course behind me. Came in CIT in second year, so I missed the first year of Rec. Actually met Joe on the very first day in the hall. It's the first person I talked to in Rec.
I remember it. I went up to him and I was like, because I'd actually changed modules.
Yeah.
So whatever electives I'd picked, I was in a new class, the class I had been in first year. So there's this class in the corner, I hadn't met them either. Like, I walked over and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like I'm on my own here anyway. And there was all like little cliques and groups, like, and I see this fella on his own, like, and I just went up to him. Like,
He's making me out there.
what's the story, boy? Are you in this class, yeah? And you were like, yeah, boy, I only just come in there for the Stefan Nefa, like a fish out of the water.
Oh, I was so
And I was
apprehensive
like,
that day, like.
Ideal.
Just picture this, going into a hall filled with, I don't know how many's in here, must have been 80, 90 in there. And Ed Cole, one of the lecturers, shouting out, if you're picking this module, you had to go into a certain corner. I literally knew 2 people, I'd say, in the whole year, 3 people. I was looking around, and then I just saw 2 people out of the corner, I standing in a corner, not knowing what module they wanted to, and I just walked over. Joe was one of them, Paul O'Leary was the other, and I remember I just stood next to the 2 and I thought, literally going to cling on to these 2 guys for the rest of the day. But then we finished Rec and now we're moving on to business. So I suppose individually, getting back to the point, rambled on there a bit, Jesus. But individually, I'd like to give the podcast a go for a year as well.
Yeah. Speaking of actually working, you were saying there, you took the year off and you worked with your dad. So one of the years I was in arts, I was actually repeating 2 modules. So I timed my hands, looked for a job, couldn't get a job anywhere. Like, I was applying online, jobs at all this stuff, and couldn't get everyone wants like 2 years experience. You know the way, like they're all experience.
Experience is the
and
worst.
Whatever I was applying for, I couldn't get it. So eventually, I got work with this crowd called Ask Jerry. So did you ever hear Ask Jerry, or do you know Ask Bongo?
Yeah, the text crowd.
Bongo,
Yeah.
You see on Geordie Shore. I was one of those guys behind the scenes, and I was
You shoot text back, is it?
I used to be the guy, like, you get a text. So let's say Kev McCarthy from Frankfield in Cork.
He marks me from Frankfield, yes. Very posh.
So from Frankfield,
I just said
Kevin McCarthy, Frankfield. Then like you're on a timer, like the quicker you can do it, it's all about how many you get back. You get paid like 13 cents per text. If even that, it was absolute pittance anyway.
But how do you find out the information about people?
Facebook. So you stalk, like you go onto Google, like you get trained up, right? So you got to search
the name of the person.
Yeah, like there's certain ways, like you do it in quotations, and there's these different ways you can search. I can't even remember now because it was like 3 years ago. But and you search them, and then you got to come up with a witty comment about them, like so.
Like
and you got to include 2 people that they know. So if I found your Facebook, right, sometimes you can't find them, you got to send them back. So if I found you, like I'd be like, like Kevin McCarthy pulls fucking I can't even think of one. Like Kevin McCarthy pulls more birds than he pulls rabbits out of a hat or something like that. Like, or something like that. Like, or Kevin McCarthy is more of a player than this person and this person. Like. And,
yeah.
So I was working there for a year.
I didn't even know people did that. Like
grim. You just work from home, and like you might make like you can work for like 4 hours, no joke. Like, and it all depends on how busy they are. Like, you could be there for 4 hours and you make like €13 in 4 hours. Like, it was crazy.
That's insane.
But I couldn't get another job, so I just kept plugging away at it for a while. Got a bit of bar work then at the end, like, but yeah.
So as for a student, it's like
jobs, like.
just sitting down texting isn't too bad, but Jesus, it's grim enough.
Shout out to Ask Jerry, you've given me motivation to move on to other things.
Well, we're definitely gonna have to do a podcast one day and just like crappy job, absolute shitty jobs. We'll have
make
to
a singular podcast to that one.
Yeah, definitely, because I think we've both had really bad jobs. Going forward with the podcast as a duo, I suppose it's the same. Like, I suppose just keep at it, see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like look, like it's going to be a long burner, like you know. Any
have to
social
be really
media
patient,
people we've
like.
talked or people who've made it on social media and things like that, is like, you know, they were at it for years before you actually see the fruition. Like, so I suppose, look, we're going to give it a bit of time anyway, and we're going to put all our energy into it. A couple of things I would love to do, like I'd love to get a big van, like a hippie van, old Volkswagen van,
Yeah, we've talked
kit
about
out the
this.
back of it, make a studio in the back, get all your graphics on the side, road trips, off you go, pick up your guests on the way,
Oh,
you know,
that's
have
just-
mobile podcast, head away, let's say the European Football Championships are on, you go on a road trip across Europe, you organise a guest here, and here, you have your podcast, you go on
Bang
your
'em
road
out,
trip,
like,
you
yeah.
make vlogs, you do oh jeez, I don't mean to swear, so you do all sorts.
We're loose tonight, guys. Absolutely loose.
Another thing I would love to do is like Frankly Nuts, I suppose we gave it a tagline, the People's Podcast, right? So something I would love to do is make a WhatsApp group or a group chat
Yeah.
with viewers and fans, if you want to call them that. Like, I don't know, could we say
We're
we have
at such a
fans,
young
like,
stage, yeah, but
so
like,
viewers who are interested in our podcast, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to call them fans because it's weird.
it's weird at the start. Yeah.
So I'd love to do that, and just like each week, like we'd be obviously be in it ourselves and be like, you know, who do you think we should get on? You know, who would you be interested in getting on? Does anybody know that guest?
Yeah.
Let's say,
Do you know?
okay, so we have this guest, we're filming tomorrow, and what questions do you want asked? And bang it away, and like we take it all on board, like, and it'd be lovely to create a little community like that. So if a WhatsApp is something that fans or are interested in, just let us know.
Yeah,
You know,
just-
let
yeah,
us know. Even if 3 people let us know by message,
We'll set it up just for the 5 of us guys on WhatsApp.
yeah, WhatsApp or a group chat, Facebook, whatever, you know, just a group chat in general, a forum.
Yeah, exactly. And you even spoke of it there, like, there's been so many people that we've talked to about social media and stuff, they've helped us. Like, we've had Amy Ormond from The Body Chef,
Body
she's
Chef,
helped us
yeah.
a lot, kind of shout out to you. Dan Sweeney as well has been another great one for
Another
us,
great
advising us.
Jason
And
Woodard,
Jason Woodard of
from
Huckleberries
Huckleberry
as well.
Donuts.
Like, there's-
Finest donuts in town,
Yeah,
you know.
there's loads of them in there, guys, but Huckleberries is definitely the nicest. But like, it
All
is
those
great
people
to
are
have
good to us,
people
and-
like that to give us
Yeah.
advice, like, and it's great going forward for us because we oh jeez Christ,
Yeah,
we
you're
really are taking this on board. Tongue twister there. My tongue is still burned from the coffee earlier. The next fan comment or fan
Yeah.
question: when did our interest in podcasts begin?
Ooh, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I suppose, like, when did mine begin? I remember, like, I kind of started getting into the UFC just before McGregor, kind of just before he came on the scene. I wouldn't say way before he came on the scene, but I remember playing the PlayStation games
You're
or
like
whatever.
the Chelsea fan who says he got interested in Chelsea before Abramovich, like, you know.
Well,
Total liar.
I used to play the UFC PlayStation games, and I remember it was something I liked. Now, I used to get up at 3-4 in the morning to watch the UFC event, but I used to watch him on YouTube or whatever. And I remember there was always something about Joe Rogan. I kind of loved him in the octagon, his passion or whatever.
Yeah.
So I used to just YouTube him, and I remember I used to watch like old Fear Factor videos of him, and I loved that. And then I stumbled across his podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience, and I just watched that, and I kind of started getting hooked on that. Like, and his were 2-3 hours long. Like, they're just unbelievable, so insightful. Like, so I started watching that. Then I came across, only recently enough, I suppose in last year, I came across the True Geordie. So I think they're the only
Newcastle.
two. Yeah.
Castle.
Oh, yeah, man. But I used to just watch the two of them. Really are the main two I watch. I suppose, like, since we've started this, I haven't had time to kind of watch any others. But
Yeah, it's crazy.
but yeah, definitely them two. I suppose 3 or 4 years ago is when I started getting into podcasts, maybe 5 even. But what about yourself?
Yeah, you basically have a very similar answer to one I was going to go with. Joe Rogan again. So, like, Joe Rogan again, I just started watching UFC. No, I'm not going to pretend that I got into UFC before McGregor, like yourself. So
yourself?
I got into it obviously after McGregor started getting involved. And again, Joe Rogan stood out as a massive personality. Massive
Is he
personality
alright there,
and
guys?
character. See, that's what I love about it. It's so real. Like, I just burped twice there now, you know, and here it is. Like, it's
Did you hear an excuse me once by him, guys, for burping? I didn't.
I said sorry twice.
Sorry. Excuse me. Go on, Anya.
Oh, Jesus.
This is Frankfield.
Life lessons with Cliff McCarthy. So yeah, Joe Rogan, massive personality, massive character.
He's like the podfather, really, like, isn't he?
Yeah. Where'd you get that saying? Thanks. And
I have to credit.
massive personality, and like I remember, I think it was one of my buddies who was like, "Oh, did you ever watch his podcast?" You know, and I was like, "Not really." No, he's like, "Yo, it's crazy. Like, they smoke weed on it, drink on it, and everything." I was like, "Jesus, I'll have to check this out."
It's very loose, like.
And I checked it out, and like first one I clicked into, and I was like, 3 hours long. I was like, what is the story here?
I don't
There's
have
no
3
way I'm gonna
hours
sit
to
down and
watch,
a
like, yeah.
YouTube video for 3 hours, like. So then watched a few, thought they were good enough. Couple that stick out of my mind. He did one with Dan Bilzerian, you know,
The
king of Instagram, I suppose, is what he's known as. The guy, he puts up, like, he's got millions of followers, puts up pictures with chicks and
women and drinking and
planes,
drugs
guns,
and
drinking, whatever. But he did a podcast with Dan Bilzerian, and it's absolutely crazy. The story is crazy.
Yeah, it
like,
is. I've seen it. Yeah,
brilliant. And he did one with John Jones as well, UFC fighter.
that was one of the best ones, I think, as well. Yeah, definitely.
And after that, I got hooked. Again, you got me into the True Geordie, brilliant podcast as well. And it's very relatable. Like, you know, he's a working class guy from Newcastle. Like, just kind of made his podcast. Like, he was a deep sea diver or something like that for years. Like, and he made his podcast. And there's one that stuck out in my mind. There was he did one, and he titled it, I think, The English Wolf of Wall Street with Sean Atwood. And
that's one of the best podcasts ever.
Mind-blowing story. So that's, I suppose, that's how I got into them, and there are a couple other ones that I like.
Yeah, definitely, I like it. The next question, I think, like, you're definitely gonna know my answer to this, but who's your biggest idol?
My biggest idol.
Yeah.
In general.
It was just, who's your biggest idol? Like, we could maybe break it down into, like, sport.
We'll just
like,
go
who do you look up
biggest
to? I
idol,
suppose, yeah. Other than, like, the obvious, I suppose, would be your parents and stuff like that. Like, but other than that,
I was gonna say, it didn't even come to my head. Sorry, man. Sorry. Jesus. I was gonna say Joe Rogan. Parents. Sorry, man. Sorry. I love you.
I don't look up to you at all. Moving on. I'd say I'm gonna fanboy big time here, and, like, definitely McGregor. I think his whole story is just, like, not just because, like, what he's achieved, but just, like, we're Irish. He started from nothing, like, being on the dole, getting his social welfare every week, to now 4 years later being a multi-millionaire. Like, it's insane. His mindset is something I admire. Like, I know in Ireland we have such a small mentality. Like, you know, you say you're going to do something, and you definitely have someone saying, like, shut up, you fool, like, you're not going to do that, you're not going to do this, and he's definitely just proved everything wrong. So he's definitely one of my biggest idols, along with Stevie Gerrard. But I won't even get into
Liverpool,
that.
Geez, we don't want to get into Liverpool talk with this guy.
Yeah, we'll get into it later on. I'll touch on that later, but I could go on for 3 or 4 podcasts about Stevie. For Bodie individually, if you had to compare yourself to a sports star or celebrity, who would it be? That's one of the toughest questions I think I've ever received. I saw it last night and I was thinking, Jesus, like, I don't want to compare myself to anyone. Like, it's right. Like, how can you compare yourself to like, they're making millions and I'm making donuts, like.
I'm gonna go for Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney?
Yeah. I like to think of myself that in sport and stuff that I touch of a god, like, you know, but fitness is a bit lacking, like, and the way Rooney's going these days, like, not Rooney in his prime, no, Rooney as he is right now.
Everything Rooney, like.
But you've seen his preseason there recently, he scored a goal from like 25 yards. But
he still has a touch of something about him, but I suppose.
Yeah, like, do you know, Rooney, obviously you're probably against him because he's an Evertonian originally. Why? So he's what? 31?
31,
31, I think, right? Why do you think he is where he is right now? Like, why? Like, he's not that old, like.
He's not. It just feels like he's like 18. He came on the scene. Was it
16.
17? Yeah.
I think it's just pure mileage. Like, I think he's played at the top for so long. Like, you know, he's one of the oldest 31-year-olds around. Really, like,
he's won nearly everything as well.
Sorry?
He's won nearly everything as well. I'd say, like, once you get to a stage you've won so much, like, I don't think I'd say he knows he's not going to win the World Cup. Like, England in the next 2 or 3 years aren't going to win the World Cup, like, or whatever. Every 4 years, whatever it is, like, they're not going to. They just, for some reason, they fail at the big tournaments. So I think he's won everything club wise. Just go back to his home club now and see out the career. Like, I'd say his motivation is.
Yeah, and to flick that question back on yourself, compare myself to a sports star. It's a tough one. Like, I wouldn't like to compare myself to any celebrity. I suppose I just love Seth Rogen as well as an actor. Like, compare myself to him. Like, just always, just always happy. Like, seems like he just doesn't let anything get to him. Like, he just goes out. He's on talk shows there, just openly talking about weed and stuff. And I just think I just like him as an actor. Yeah, he's just. He looks like he's very, like, you could have a chat with him, like, if you saw him on the street. So I'd like to think I'm kind of that happy and go lucky, really. Lovely.
This one is, who is your least favourite celebrity? That was the next fan question we got. Who's your least favourite? I'll start it off if you've no one. I would say just purely based on the fact that I hate Harry Potter and everything to do with it.
Serious?
Yeah, I'd say Daniel Radcliffe. I just, from a young age, like my brothers loved Harry Potter. They read the books, they watched the films. And I remember I tried to watch the first film and I had absolutely no interest in this little boy being a wizard and doing all these magic spells. It just did absolutely nothing for me. And I just thought, Jesus, like, what the hell is this tripe on my telly? So I just despise it. And then there's people on Facebook. If you love Harry Potter, nothing against you, like, or anything, but just hated it from a young age and always will, I suppose.
For me, I suppose, like, I don't really hate any celebrity or anything, like, or dislike anyone really, but
He's such a good person, guys.
If I was to go for anyone, it would probably be Kim Kardashian, like, you know.
Getting famous for having a sex tape, really, like, yeah.
So yeah, and her family's famous off it. But look, at the same time, I admire the entrepreneurial tendencies that they've carried through, and sure, look where they are now. Like, at the same time, you have to take your hats off to them. Like,
yeah, they've made their money from it. Like,
become famous off this, and like, Jesus, they must be.
Do you think though their father had a role to play in their fame as well? Though, like, he was OJ's lawyer. Like, do you think that he was so in the spotlight after the OJ thing? Was the family in the spotlight, and then when that thing with Kim came out, like that tape, like that.
Well,
silent,
yeah, very possible. The father could have had a big part
role
to
play in
like,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually watched that OJ
versus the People.
OJ versus the People on Netflix.
One of the best Netflix documentaries
like,
ever.
Yeah, I just when I get into stuff like that, like, I binge heavily. And
what did you have it finished in?
2 days. I'd say college off for 2 days. Like, I remember texting you.
Like, that's insane.
He texted me like, "Oh, you coming in today?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so." And
there I was thinking he's sick at home.
Yeah,
like,
the first day I told him I was sick. And
feeling bad for him.
The second day I was just like, to be honest, I'm on episode 6 of OJ versus the People. I'm hooked. I was watching YouTube videos, things like that. Like, when I get into it, like, I have a bit of an addictive personality, so like, I dove headfirst into it. But
I couldn't believe that either, because it took me how long? It took me 2-3 weeks, I'd say, to finish OJ with the People. Same with Riverdale when Riverdale came out. It took me definitely a few weeks to finish it. This guy here again had it done 2 days, I'd say. He just got absolutely hooked to it.
You're normal.
Yeah. When Riverdale came out and I hadn't seen him in college, I figured it out that he was at home.
I'll have to cancel my Netflix subscription. Plug for Netflix.
If you're watching, guys, free subscription would be handy. The next one is definitely a tough one for us. This one is kind of 2-part question. So the first bit was, who was our dream guest and why? And then the second part was a dinner party of 5 people. It could be either dead or alive. Who would we like at it? Yeah. So I suppose we'll start with the best with the dream guest.
Yeah, like, if you'd asked me that earlier, I would have said Joe Rogan, but look, I'm after answering him a couple of times there now. So I'm going to change my answer, and I'm actually going to go for one of his buddies, Brendan Schaub. So we actually went to see him last Saturday night. In
Sugar Club.
The Sugar Club in Dublin, Sugar Club, and we went to see him there. And this guy, Brendan Schaub, so like, a lot of people actually don't know him. Like, when I was saying I was going to Dublin to a comedy event last week,
trying to describe him
like,
to people,
and I was like, "Oh, Brendan Schaub, do you know him?" And everyone was like, "No." And so this guy, Brendan Schaub, like, he was a college footballer. He was also fought in the UFC. Jeez, like, people think we're a UFC podcast if we're ever going. So he fought in the UFC at heavyweight, and he got to like number 3 in the world, I think. And now he's after leaving those worlds, and I suppose he's got his own podcast, The Fighter and the Kid, which is another one we forgot to mention earlier. And he's buddies with Joe Rogan. And I was skeptical going up there. I was like, he's hardly going to be good at comedy, like, you know. Like, jeez, I don't know what you thought of it, but I thought it was unbelievable, like. And,
he was very good. He's a very honest guy. If you've never seen him, definitely check out his.
Like, his whole set was taking the mickey out of himself, really, and his UFC journey, like, and something that would have been so serious for him at the time, like.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, obviously, like, if you're in the UFC, you're fighting for like the fight just before getting the title shot. Like, this is everything for you, obviously, like, you
it's
know.
what you dreamed of, I
and
suppose.
Like, for him to sit down, and write a whole set, taking the absolute mickey out of himself about it, like, is unbelievable, like, you know. You've got to park the ego at the door, like, but in fairness, look, it's making big money as well, like, so
it's making more money than he ever did fighting, I think.
So yeah, I actually love to have him on.
I'd love so many people on the show, but like, if we're talking about anyone at all, it would have to be, I'd say, Stephen Gerrard. I've loved him from a young age, like, being a Liverpool fan. I'd love to just get him on, talk to him about Istanbul, about like almost winning the league a few years ago. I don't think the slip was his fault. That slip was not his fault. It was like, it happens. Everyone messes up in their career at some stage. He just happened to slip, and Demba scored, but there was still he scored just on the stroke half time. There was still 45 minutes to get back in the game. I think Iago Aspas lost us that game with that pathetic corner. towards the end. Absolutely
go on.
embarrassing.
Please.
But the next part of it then is the dinner party of 5 people, dead or alive. Now this was a tough one. This was very, very tough.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone in mind, or do you want me to go first?
You go first. I'm gonna have to think about this one first.
So look, I've mentioned Stephen Jarrett. I'm not going to mention him anymore.
Sure.
He's not going to be at my dinner. I suppose I'd keep it close to home. I'd start at, obviously, I'd love to have McGregor at dinner with me, just chat absolute shit to him really for an hour. McGregor, I'd actually love to have Coach Kavanagh, John Kavanagh.
Yeah.
He seems like he has such a knowledge of just not even MMA, just everything. So I'd like to have him at the table. I'd love to have, what's his name? The comedian, the Irish comedian,
Al Porter.
Al Porter. I think he's really funny. I'd love to have him at the table. Bit of comedy, he'd keep everyone entertained, lighthearted. It's very Irish orientated here. I'd have, who else then would I have? I have McGregor, I have Coach Kavanagh, Al Porter. I'd actually take a YouTuber, a big YouTuber that I'm into at the minute is Willany. I think he's kind of funny. I'd have him at the table just because he's around our age, seems like a nice guy. And the last one, dead or alive, I suppose I'll take someone that's dead now. Robin Williams. I loved his films as a kid,
very good,
growing up.
Yeah.
I loved the one where he was an adult but he had the mind of a kid. I can't remember what that one was called. No, Jesus, it's one of my favourite films as a kid. And I loved the film Jack, where he used to go into I think that could have been it. Was that it, Jack? And there was another film where he was a aspiring comedian and he went into hospital to the sick children. So definitely Robin Williams would definitely be on my list, and that would be my dinner party.
I'll throw in Joe Rogan, right? Followed by Donald Trump, right? I think he's self-explanatory. So that's 2. Joe Rogan, Donald Trump.
Rogan and Trump would definitely bounce off each other, so that would make for
I think Rogan would pick holes in Trump. Did you ever hear of a guy from Kerry called Tom Crean years ago now? Like,
was he an explorer?
Yes.
An Antarctic explorer,
an Arctic explorer. Fascinated by him for a year. So
did he die of frostbite? Was that how he died?
Well, I don't know. He definitely had like loads of. I can't remember his exact, but like I was obsessed with him for a couple of years when I was like 7, and like I got my old man to like drive me down to Kerry to his pub in Onaskal is where it was. I'm pretty 99% sure. So I lobbed Tom Crean in there. Do you know what? We'll throw in the lady in red, Marilyn Monroe.
Shout out Marilyn.
So yeah, and then I have one more person to add. Yeah. I'll add in Margot Robbie, because she did a great job in Wolf of Wall Street, and it was a class movie, and I'd just like to get her thoughts on that film. And
I'm sure that's not all he wants her there
thoughts
for.
on that film, and working with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jonah Hill as well. He did great in that film.
Your top 5 anyway trumps mine, I have to say. Very good.
Trumps, pardon the pun. Hey, that was punny.
So the next fan question that came in, have we been on a J1 and what was our experience like?
Yep.
So if you want to start, you went on 2. Or
yeah,
do you
I
want me
did,
to start?
yeah.
Because
so the first one I went on was in 2013 in South Carolina.
Hicksville.
South Carolina. So we went to Myrtle Beach, myself and 10 other friends. Unbelievable summer. I suppose we got there. I'd saved up a bit of money originally. Look, I think you get a month or something like that before you actually have to get a job, like, you know, or they'll get it back to you. So
it was different now. When I went, you had to have a job before.
I was there years ago, and
these old guys, if you don't get it.
So yeah, Myrtle Beach, and we partied for 5 weeks straight with no work, and then it got to the stage where like, right, we have to get work or we're going to be deported basically. So we all got jobs as housekeepers in the local hotel. So
I can't even imagine you cleaning someone's house.
Knocking on doors, hotels, hotel rooms, doors, and housekeeping. Yeah. And then like there was me and my buddy and this old lady. She was lovely, actually. Susie, still remember her name. She was a lovely lady. Like she'd fallen upon hard times. She was a really hard worker, and it was actually like I felt so sorry for her. Like, you know, and she was here earning $8 an hour, like
just for cleaning. Like,
it was brutal. And so yeah, we got that. 2 days went by, jacked it in, couldn't hack it at all. And you know, Susie, her work ethic was just a little too much for me.
He really loves Susie's guy.
It's not great when you're hungover and you 2 hours sleep and you're sunburned because you forgot your Fact 50 the day before, you know. So
Susie drove him to his P45.
That was that summer. Then we went on to working in a water park. We started, there was like senders on the top of slides, so you know, stopping people and letting people go and all that. So yeah, then eventually we got kind of trained in to be a lifeguard in the same place. It was shallow water, so the highest depth. So like when we were training to be lifeguard, we're doing all these maneuvers, like, you know, flipping over our heads and fucking like all this lanyard this and lanyard that is what they were all saying. Like, and there was a big mix of people, loads of different countries, ethnicities, all sorts, right?
Working there or just at the park, like, is that or?
Oh, working there,
Working
yeah,
there,
and
yeah.
at the park, yeah. But working there, right, becoming lifeguards, like, so we had a big mix of us, and there was me and three of my other buddies were also training, and like the deepest part of the water park was 3.5 feet. So like, if someone actually got into difficulty, like, it's kind of a just
Pull them out, like,
kind of like that.
you alright there?
Yeah. So that was my first one, and then last summer I went to Boston, where I played hurling over in Boston with the Galway Boston Hurling Club. Shout out to all the lads who were involved there. We had an unbelievable summer again. So different to my first one, like. So this time it was more of a city experience. Like that one was kind of your tacky tourist town, boardwalks, you know, arcades, all that kind of stuff. That's where a lot of people were getting work. So this one was we were kind of working construction, things like that. Like, but the hurling was a big thing over there out in Canton, and we actually went on to win the senior hurling championship last summer, and it was brilliant, I must say, and it was just cool to see Boston and all it had to offer, like, and it's just a really nice city, like, you know. I suppose it's a bit different to New York, in like that New York is very, like, it's hustle and bustle,
Busy,
like, you know,
like,
it's a great place, like, unbelievable, like, but bit too hectic for me, especially the city centre. And like 2 or 3 days there, I'm losing my nut, like, you know. So Boston's a bit more chill. You can walk around a bit more, and there's a big Irish heritage there, like, you know. So every second person you meet is Irish or Irish American or things like that, like. So that was another great summer for me, now, to be honest, and 2 great experiences, and I wouldn't change them for the world.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. The J1 is just something, if you haven't done, I definitely recommend doing it.
Absolutely.
It does open up your eyes to a lot more, like what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
I went last year, we went to San Diego. Originally there was me, my girlfriend, my 2 buddies then, so Peter Jennings in our college class, and another buddy from outside college, but we decided we'd go to San Diego, and we actually had a bit of trouble leaving. We arrived in Shannon Airport the day we were leaving, this Saturday, and checked in, whatever, got our seat numbers, happy out. It was about, I'd say, 10:30, 11 in the morning. So we got to the airport. We were like, we'll have a pint here now, chill out, like, start the J1 on a high. The next thing you know is this, one of the lads was like, imagine, like, if the flight was cancelled or whatever. Within 5 minutes, there was an announcement over the tannoy to say, flight whatever to London, so that was our connecting flight, that had been cancelled due to technical difficulties or something. And we were like, holy shit, like, whatever.
Yeah.
And we went down, and I remember they just whipped our bags from wherever they put them, like, and they just threw them out in the open. They actually broke my girlfriend's suitcase, and we were standing there, we were like, this is just going to be horrific.
He's under pressure then to stand up there, like.
Had to be the big man, like, hey, what are you doing? So then we went up. I remember we were standing at the desk for what felt about 4 hours to try. They were saying, we'll fly to Birmingham, we'll fly to Liverpool, we'll fly to London in a later flight. Eventually, we just had to stay. They put us up overnight in a hotel in Limerick. Eventually, we got to San Diego the next night, and it was just unbelievable. Now, the weather over there wasn't great. I admit it. I thought it'd be way hotter. But the 4 of us got a job in an ice cream shop at the start. Literally, now. Here, when we get an ice cream, it's little 2 mini scoops in a cup, like, and we're happy with that, and we walk out thinking, "Jeez, this is lovely ice cream." Over there, it was literally 4 scoops was 1 scoop. So like you had to give 4 big scoops, and that was the equivalent to 1 American scoop. Like, so we were told that. So we only lasted, I'd say, my girlfriend lasted a week there before quitting because she couldn't hack it. She didn't like it, and then I'd say me and the 2 lads, we followed about a week later. We just said this isn't for us. Like,
and did you get on other jobs then after that?
We did straight away. See, the guy that we set up, he was an absolute cowboy. Shout out to you, Faha. He literally charged us $700 rent a month there was 7 of us in the apartment, so it was $700 each. Like, he was making $4,900 a month off us. And like, to be fair, it was a nice apartment, but like, geez, it wasn't worth nearly $5,000. So we piled in, like, we got onto these 4 other lads. They moved in with us, and it just split. It shared rent, but he obviously didn't know about that. But he was an absolute cowboy, robbing everyone. Anyway. Yeah. So we did that, and we actually got onto him to get us another job. We were working in an amusement park, Belmont, and we got in the arcade. So we were just basically, we were guys on your hammer saying, $5, step right up, see if you can ring the bell, guys. So we got that, and we worked there for the rest of the summer before we went travelling. And I think travelling was definitely the best part of the J1. We went to, me, Peter, my girlfriend, and my girlfriend's friend actually came over for the last 2 weeks. So we went travelling, all of us together. We drove from San Diego to San Fran, which was about 12, 13 hours, I'd say. And
Is it that far?
yeah, it was a long drive. Like we left, I'd say, I think it was 2 or 3 in the morning, and we got to San Fran, and I'd say nearly 2 o'clock the next day. Like, so that was a long drive, but it was definitely worth. San Fran was unbelievable. We went to Lake Tahoe, Yosemite, and then we finished our journey in Vegas for the McGregor fight. We ended the journey in Vegas to see Conor McGregor in ATS2. One of the best nights.
Like?
It's one of the best nights of my life.
Yeah.
Like the lads, they originally bought their tickets when they came out. I can't remember. They paid maybe $500 for it, if I can remember. And I was like, I'm just not spending. I didn't have that money. Like I was like, I'm not spending that much money on a fight. Like I'll watch it in Vegas. So we were in Lake Tahoe about a week out from the fight, and I said, you know what? I'll go on Ticketmaster, check it out. There was a ticket for $250. I just whipped out the credit card that my parents just got me, and I said, like, this has to be
Thanks,
done.
Mom.
Yeah, I text home. I was like, this has to be done. Like I'll pay it off when I'm home. Like this is a once in a lifetime.
They
like,
react to that.
they were like, yeah, absolutely. They were like, go for it. Like my dad knew I was obsessed with McGregor, like, so he was kind of just go for it. Like they both were. Got the ticket, went to Vegas, and we actually like we if we'd known, we should have done it a lot better. We missed half the fights, like the fight card. We got in. I think Donald Cerrone was the first fight I saw. He knocked out your man with an absolute unreal head kick, and then it was on to the co-main, and that lasted 13 seconds.
Rumble and
Glover
took chair, yeah.
So that lasted 13 seconds, because I remember I was telling like the guys that we were with that weren't going to the fight, I was like, we'll ring you when McGregor's coming on, get to a pub, and like we had told him 9:30, 10 o'clock. This was 9:15, 9 o'clock, and the come-in was off, like it was done. So we were like, holy shit, like get to a pub now, like McGregor's on next. Watched that 5 rounds, and it was just the most surreal experience ever, like being there.
Yeah.
I would literally, if I had a house, I'd remortgage it to get over to the Mayweather and McGregor one. It was that good. Like it's something. If you haven't done it, I would definitely recommend going to a McGregor fight. But yeah, that was my J1 experience. Like it was.
I was in Boston actually the same night that was going on, and like Diaz is an American, obviously. This place was full of McGregor fans.
Yeah, it's
and they were all American, like, but it was all McGregor. Myself and 4 buddies, we went into a place, $10 in, I think, $1 beers. 15, 20 beers, like we were, and just
you don't even watch the fight, like it's just
unbelievable night.
It is. The Nate Diaz fans were something else in Vegas. So a few of them, like they come up to you after the fight and it says if you're on McGregor's train, they were like, well done guys, you deserved it or whatever. But I remember when we were leaving the T-Mobile, there's like all the Irish were, there's only one Conor McGregor. They were just chanting and like walking in McGregor Wonderland, all this kind of stuff. And there was one Diaz fan just turned out and he just swung at an Irish fan. And next thing there was just this massive brawl, and I just thought, holy shit, like I do not want to get connected with one here. Or I was like, I have no fighting experience.
These fellas probably get ideas too after watching fights all night. Like, you're probably coming out thinking you're, Rumble Johnson or,
So yeah, that was definitely one of the best experiences. If you haven't gone on a J1, I know I've said it about 10 times, I'd definitely go on.
I'd second that.
Definitely, like you're only in college, like for 4 years, like definitely go for it.
Or 7 if you're me.
And we're nearly kind of coming to the end of them now, but you both seem to have great interest in sports. What sports were you involved in growing up or are involved in presently?
Do you want to take it?
So I'll just start off. I suppose growing up, my dad was big into the GAA. Like it was, like we lived in we grew up in Frankfield, so that would have been the Douglas area, but he was a massive bars man. So we all started street leagues out in the bars playing hurling and football. So I played them growing up. I stopped hurling when I was 16. I kind of just got sick of it. Like it wasn't something that I hated. I loved watching hurling, loved playing it, but it just got to a stage where I was like, look, I just kind of want to focus on the football, because I was playing soccer as well at the time. So I played in goal for a while, and then I played centre back as well with so many different. I played with Greenwood, I played with Wilton, Killareen. You name them.
Different transfer windows.
Yeah, I've played with nearly every team now, Everton as well. So yeah, I played soccer, hurling, GAA. I did a bit of taekwondo growing up. I got to a yellow tip on the white belt, not very far, and broke my hand, so I had to stop. That's pretty much it. That's all I've been involved in. Just before I had the operation as well, I started doing boxing up in Douglas Boxing Club. I started getting involved in that. I love that. But it's something I don't think I could go back to now after the operation. One hit in the head and I'll be out. So yeah, I actually, even speaking of that surgery, like I remember when I had the surgery, before I had it, I was saying it to Joe and one of our friends, Salty. We were just chilling, and I was shout out to Salty, just chilling. I said, look, I have to tell him, like I'm with these guys now every day studying and stuff. I'm just gonna have to just tell him, like, especially with Joe doing the podcast. So I told him, and I played it down massively. Like I was like, oh, it's this minor procedure. Like I'll be fine. I'll be out of hospital in a few days. back to the podcast within a week. And I remember they were like, "Oh, we'll come up and see you in the hospital. Like, it would be nice to see you." So I said, "Yeah, call the way up." And I remember they called up, and I was just sitting in the hospital chair. I couldn't really move because the scars at the back of the head here, and there was a massive plaster. But I remember Joe came in, and his face just kind of dropped a bit, and he just didn't know.
It was a rattling experience.
He just didn't know what
you
to
played down, like.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I played it down to everyone, really.
your mother and brother were there and stuff, like, and you know, I could see. I suppose me and Salty Pete went in, and we were, you know, you'd have played down so much, like, we thought it was all good, like, you know, obviously, like, it was brain surgery, like, you know, so, like, obviously, I wasn't going to be walking the park, but you'd have played down, and you'd been texting us and stuff, so, like, for us going in, we thought, look, he's nearly back to full state, and, you know, we'd go in laughing and joking and stuff, so we kind of got in, and geez, just the minute we opened the door, and his mom and his brother were there, and it's just kind of like deer in headlights moment, really. I suppose.
It was a very weird experience seeing him walk in. Like it was kind of,
yeah. I don't want to say awkward, but it kind of was.
It was almost that, like, I'm okay, but like it was
like.
I had to move like this all the time. Like, I couldn't turn my head, so I was very awkward talking to him.
We were nervous and stuff, so nervous.
So I suppose that kind of stopped I'm not involved in anything presently then because of that. So I'll be back, hopefully back playing some sort of guy in October. I think I'm allowed back to the gym and stuff in October. So that's put a halt.
Ball.
Yeah, 5-a-side was massive actually. But yeah, I think the operation it's been on me now for 10 months, so I haven't done anything for 10 months, but hopefully now come October I'll be back into my sports and back to the gym.
Brilliant.
So
look forward to it. See you then. So yeah, I suppose me and my family lived in Douglas till I was 9, so my earliest sporting memories would have been playing the street leagues in Douglas with many of my friends there, and they were always very enjoyable. Like, it was a great way to get into the GA really and make friends. And alongside that, then my dad always would have had a golf club in my hand. He started golf when he was 20, and he's an okay golfer now. Like, I think he plays to handicap 9 or something like that. And he started golf when he was 20, and like, he's loved it ever since. Like, and he always said, you know, like, if he had a child or whatever, that he would just give them the golf club from an early age, just so that they would be able to learn the skill. Because, you know, like, you pick up all these, like, functional skills, like, you know, if you learn them when you're a child, like, you know, like, it makes a big difference going forward.
It's in life, like,
it's hard to pick up a sport in your 20s and things like that, like. So he always would have had a golf club in my hand, so I would have tipped away golf as well alongside. And I would have played a bit of soccer, small but just underage. When I was in Douglas, played small bit in Corinthians and things like that. And we moved to Middleton then when I was 9, and I have played hurling there ever since. And it would have always been my number one sport, really. And golf alongside it up until recently now I've taken a slight break from the old golf side of things. And I want to get back into the soccer side of things, so I think I'll probably go back and play soccer next year, because I want to find that inner Wayne Rooney inside me, you know. Like, I want to be the Sunday League footballer who can, you know, score 15 to 20 goals in a season, like, and go down the pub and have a few pints, like. So that's a dream of mine, you know. I really want to become that Sunday League footballer, like. So if it's something I don't do, I'll regret it. So I think I'll give soccer
very
a go
achievable, very achievable.
Oh, cheers.
So the next question that came in was, here it is: what is your ideal date and why?
Oh.
So I'll let you go first, because I know you were kind of excited about this one.
So my ideal date. So I have a location and everything.
He has a pinpointed it.
Yeah, Scotland.
He's taking him abroad.
Scotland, going abroad. Yeah, I'll pay for the Ryanair flights and everything. And
plug Ryanair there.
Scotland. So I have a friend over in Edinburgh, actually. His name is Kevin O'Brien. Shout out Kev. So he's in Edinburgh doing a master's in physiotherapy. He's giving you his whole backstory. Great singer, actually, Kev. Never sings for anyone. Closet singer.
We'll have to get Kev on the podcast
talent.
there now.
And what he's even better, more talented at, which this really annoys him, but I'm going to say it anyway, is he's an unbelievable, like, voice impressionist. Like, so he does impressions and they're sick. Like, he can take off anyone.
And he'd never do them, like, in a video or anything?
He will do impressions a bit, alright, but he really fancies himself as a singer more than an impressionist, but I think he's way better than an impressionist. Still a very good singer, but a better impressionist. So, sorry about that, Kev. We'll have to get him on anyway and air a shout out to the world. So, here's your public call out, Kev. Come on to Franklyn Nuts podcast and you can sing, or you can give us a few impressions.
You could do both.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on. So he's over there in Edinburgh, and I've been there twice now, and what a city, like, Jesus, just really good, really like student-friendly city, so many things to do, just such a vibey place, like things like Arthur's Seat there, you climb, and it's just beautiful, like, you know. And there's a place there a little bit outside Edinburgh called Portobello. So it's like this long beach strand slash promenade, right? So like a boardwalk. Well, not even a boardwalk, it's a promenade really, yeah. With just a load of small little houses around it, and beautiful place. Like, you know, it's got loads of little coffee stalls, like
Yeah,
little
yeah.
old trucks, coffee trucks, and little ice cream stalls, like, and just a stroll along Portobello or a little cycle along Portobello. There's always stuff going on. And you know, another reason why I think something like that is an ideal date is because it's not that intense, right? So like, let's say you go for dinner, like, right? So it's a
Yeah.
first date, right? First date, you go for dinner, you're sitting down at the table, like, it's eye
intense.
contact,
Yeah, yeah.
eye contact, right? And I'm quite an awkward guy, like, you know, I'm sure many people know that, and you know, until I get comfortable with you, and so like, I hate that, like, you know, sit down for 2 hours and eye contact,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So Portobello, you can walk alongside each other, you know, you don't have that eye contact, like, you're taking in everything that's going around you.
You're just
If
chatting,
you're
like,
stuck
yeah.
for words, you can observe the old game of volleyball going on over there, or, you know, that person cycling there, or that coffee truck there. So Portobello, Edinburgh.
Okay, my ideal date. I suppose what I like doing, I don't know if like it's the ideal date, but what I love doing is taking the dogs for a walk. Like if it's a sunny day, driving down to Inchydoney Beach, on a hincha. Just the drive down is unbelievable. Nice views on the way down. You get down there. It's a lovely walk along the beach. You're just taking in the sea air. You're walking the dogs as well at the same time. You come home then, nice home cooked meal, chill out, and then just watch a movie. I think it's basic, but it works. It works. So if you're a guy looking for a basic date, that's definitely the one. So the last fan question that was sent in was, would we do a review of the Premier League as it's starting this weekend?
Okay.
Who do we think will win it? Our top four predictions, our underdogs, who do you think will be relegated, and the signings. So there's a lot there to talk about. It's kinda broken
Before,
up.
of a disclaimer before we start, neither of us are experts, we're coach fans. So
Absolutely, yeah. Don't take anything to heart that we
No,
say.
no,
We're literally just two guys chatting some shit about soccer. So
yeah,
Premier
who do you
League
reckon's going to win it?
review,
Or
I
to John, we'll start the other way around, I think.
relegated.
Relegation. Are we
Um,
saying three, or are we saying
Three,
one?
I'd say go with the three. I think a lot of people are expecting Huddersfield to go down. I don't think they will. I think your man David Wagner is like, he's a very good coach, I think. So I think they should be okay. I think Swansea are just a sinking ship.
Yeah.
I think they'll go down this year, especially if they lose Sigurdsson to Everton. I think Swansea will go down. They've been struggling. I think Burnley barely survived last year, did they?
Can't remember.
I think they'll go
They
down.
might, yeah.
I don't think they're strong enough. And who else got promoted? Was it? I think Brighton.
Brighton. Do you
I
reckon
think,
Brighton
yeah,
will go
I
down?
think Brighton will go down. I know Chris Hughton has had some experience in the Premier League with Newcastle, but I just don't think Brighton are strong enough to say
Who
so.
was the third team that came up? I can't remember again.
So
Brighton.
there was
Huddersfield.
Brighton, Huddersfield, and Newcastle.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, man.
To be honest, relegation, like, how it's really hard to call. Like, obviously you're just going to pick a couple of lower teams.
Yeah.
I'll say, I think Newcastle will be strong enough. Like, you know, Rafa
Yeah.
Benitez, all that. Like, I don't think they're going to go down. I'll say Brighton, Huddersfield, and Swansea as well. Swansea were struggling there towards the end of last season and stuff. They look like a bit of a ticking time bomb. So I'll just go with those three. Keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, perfect. So we started with who's your underdog for the season? Who do you think?
Underdog. Ultra in West Ham.
West Ham?
I think they could be up top six with Chicharito and Arnautovic. I think a couple of good signings. West Ham.
West Ham, and they signed Joe Hart as well, actually, in goal. Good
True
signing.
that. Sorry, yeah, great call.
I think Everton. Everton. They've always kind of been in around that top seven.
Why's that?
But I think I think this year they're going to make a massive push. They've made some unbelievable signings. They got Wayne Rooney on a free. They got Sandro Ramirez, the Spain under-21. He kind of led up the 21 championships. Davy Klaassen, Michael Keane, Pickford, and now they're on the verge of signing Sigurdsson. I just think he's Coleman has bought very well this summer.
He seems like a good coach. Like,
yeah, I think he made a
players.
really good impression at Southampton. So I think they'll, as much as it hurts to say Everton, but I think they'll be the underdogs this year. I don't want to say it, but I think they could push for a top four place. Like the squad is just unbelievable. I think definitely a FIFA team I'm going to go with. Your top four.
Top four. I'll rattle these off quickly as well. in no particular order. Spurs, Chelsea, Man City, and then you have a pick of the rest. Do you know what? I'm struggling to give it to them. I don't want to give it to them, but I'll give it to United. They're going to be in top four. I think
Yeah.
Arsenal, Liverpool will lose out.
We'll lose out. Okay, interesting.
Yourself?
I think I'll go in particular order. I think City will win the league. I think then second place, I think Tottenham will be there. Tottenham, I know they haven't bought anyone yet this summer, but I don't think they needed to buy anyone. Their squad is strong enough. I know they've lost Kyle Walker, but I think Trippier will fit in grand in the back line. I think third then, I think will be Chelsea. Chelsea will come third. And I think Liverpool will come fourth. And I think United and Arsenal will miss out on the top four. I think Arsenal haven't, like, I know they've bought Lacazette, he's a really good striker or whatever, but they bought your man, is it Sead Kolnishad or something? I don't know what his name is. He's a centre back. They're the only two signings I think they've made.
Yeah.
So I don't think they've strengthened enough. And it looks like Oxlade-Chamberlain could go, Giroud could go. So I think they'll lose. And I think United as well, like, Lukaku has been the only big signing this year, 75 million, and I just don't think he's going to cut it really. He's a good player, but I don't think he's worth 75. Well, who's worth any money anymore, I suppose, with Neymar gone for 200 million.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
I
my
think
top
Lukaku
four.
will do well myself with luck, beauty of opinions.
Exactly.
What else did they ask? Who's going to win?
Who's going to win it? I've
So
already
you
said City, yeah.
I'm saying Alvaro Morata, 25 goals, Chelsea lead the way. Looks like Costa's going to go.
Back-to-back
He's been
titles?
told. Yeah, tough to do, obviously, but they're a stern outfit. A proven
Conte just
outfit.
seems like he has it nailed down.
That
Like,
formation that they changed last year, you know, the 3-5-2 or the 4, whatever you want to call it, you know, the 5-3-2, the 5-2, whatever, you know, it's just an unreal system, and it really suits them. And like fellas like Victor Moses, you know, football manager wonder kid, like, you know, he's been years, like,
Yeah.
whereas this kid been, you know, like, he's this wonder kid. You ever play football manager, which I know plenty of people probably have.
absolutely
He was
hooked on
always
it.
the wonder kid to go for. And you know, whatever, 26 years of age, he's finally kind of bared fruit and delivered on a promise, you know, and like, he should have won Ballon d'Or, you know.
It's an outrageous shout.
Yeah, but
I
Chelsea.
think City will win it because Pep Guardiola obviously is his first year last year. I think he just needed, not that he needed time, a good coach doesn't need time to adjust to a new league, I suppose, but I think he's really took an understanding of the league from last year. Like, obviously, playing teams like Stoke and West Brom and the likes of them that go real defensive, I don't think that happens in the Spanish league a lot, or the German league. Obviously, the big boys over there just absolutely walk it. Whereas in England, it's more of a case of, like, you have to respect the lower teams. Everyone can beat anyone on their day. So I think he's learned a lot from last season. I think he's bought well this summer, bringing in Kyle Walker. He's brought in a couple of other players as well. I can't even think of them now off the top of my head. But I think he's bought well, and I think he understands the league a lot more. So I'd be surprised if they didn't challenge or didn't even win it this year. So that's kind of our Premier League review.
Yeah. What else were we talking about? Do you think we were going to do a review of our first three podcasts?
Review of the
Yeah.
first three.
Shawnee Kev,
Number one,
Cork City to Preston. What did you think of it?
I suppose the day of it, woke up, I was feeling very, I was like excited for the first one to be recorded. We got in, like obviously we talked about it earlier, we had planned that this set would be very portable, that we could go anywhere, and it wasn't until the first day that we kind of lugged it out of the car. We thought, Jesus, this is the least
We have to get it
unportable
all
set.
set,
So we were like, okay, we have to set this up. I'd say it took us nearly 2 hours, was it, to kind of set up. We were in this black room now, and it was sweating. We were hot. We were like, Jesus, like, this is, we're under a bit of pressure here. And then we got the text to say the two lads were there, and we went out and met them. And we couldn't have met two nicer lads, really.
Yeah.
Absolute gents. They were
Gents,
very,
yeah, really down to earth, like, was the big thing, and just honest guys, you know, like,
Yeah.
they really did have a love of Cork City, like, you know,
Yeah.
like I think they, you know, they felt so much for the fans, like that. Obviously, they'd been signed months beforehand by Preston, and like, you know, like, if you're playing League of Ireland and all that, and you have this big deal you've signed, you know, obviously money involved, big money involved, and all that, wages, things like that. Like, I think it would be easy for your head to get swayed, like, but I think
Yeah.
the two lads, like, testament to their character, they were so, you know,
especially not being from Cork either.
and
Like,
not being for Cork, yeah,
yeah,
I
with
think
Kev
it's just
being Wexford and Shawnee being
the way
Kilkenny.
the
Like.
city took him in, like, I think, you know,
Yeah.
they really tried to repay the city, like, and it was just nice to see, like, and I wish them all the best, like, I hope
Yeah,
that they
I-
go on to make a lot of money and
Definitely second
do
that,
well
yeah.
successfully on the footballing side of things as well, like, you know, and Shawnee's off to a flyover start.
Yeah.
You know, he got a great goal in his
His debut against Burnley.
Yeah, and he was starting in the actual championship last weekend, and Kev obviously has a bit of a tough task to get in with
Great
Craig
Cunningham
Cunningham there,
yeah.
another Irish guy, been made standing captain recently, but I've no doubt he'll make it as well.
Yeah. And even talking about the podcast, like, it was just straight away, we kind of, there was banter, it was, it was upbeat, it was fun, and it just relaxed us for the first one,
Big time, yeah, because we were
I think,
shitting ourselves, to be honest. Like,
we were very nervous. You might even hear, if you go back and look at the intro, like,
Yeah.
our voices are a bit shaky.
Yeah.
It's just, we were obviously, like, we didn't want to mess up in front of these lads, or, we wanted it to go well, and what else did I want to
But
say?
they were
about
really
it?
sound, and they wished us well.
Yeah.
Like, they were genuine.
They were very
wishing us
genuine,
well,
wishing
so.
us well, and I think it helped that there was two of them as well, that they were both, like, they're best friends, and it made them comfortable as well. So that was our first podcast,
and second one, Dan Sweeney.
Yeah, Dan Sweeney. We kind of planned. We got on to Dan. We met the team up at Dan Sweeney Health and Fitness, and lovely team, lovely gym, unbelievable cafe. Plug for Dan Sweeney. But yeah, we met up with Dan. Really nice guy, really insightful. I loved that podcast now as well. Like sitting down,
it's
chatting with
different
him.
to the first one.
Yeah.
I suppose a bit more. The first one was very upbeat and all that. Like the
Yeah.
second one, a bit more insightful and still upbeat, still a few funny stories, things like that. Like it was really cool.
Like you kind of come away from that, you'd watch it and you really want to make a go of what you have planned. Like if you had any aspirations, any dreams, like watch that, and it kind of does give you the kind of kick that you need. Maybe
it's really cool what he's doing, and the ethos of his gym, like that they do. Like I think they say they chase life, not the six pack. Like that you go to the gym, and I suppose that you've had a good social experience, and that you leave a happier person, and that's just cool. Like I really like that. Like
So that was the second one, yeah.
And he's really funny vlogs and everything. And we were even in one of his vlogs.
Check it out. I can't
check
remember.
it out on YouTube. Yeah,
24 maybe. But yeah, that was the second one, really fun one. And then our third one, which just aired last week, of course, was with Nathan Adams, the model, entrepreneur, manager of Welchie. That was another very good one.
powerful story, like.
Yeah, his might have been a bit more serious, but there was elements of kind of banter in it as well. Like obviously his story is something, obviously we couldn't like have banter with that. He was chatting to us about his history in bullying in school and his story of coming out. So it's very brave of him as well to come on and like share his story with others. Like,
and he's got great reaction, I think, from a lot of people. Even he's got loads of messages from people just saying, brilliant, like even still, like, and he's an inspiration and everything, and it's great to see, really, like, and for a fella to do it so young, like,
what was he, 19 was he?
20, I think.
20, coming out, like,
just brilliant, like, really,
especially in the world of social media, like social media can be a killer at times. Like if someone comes out like that, they can tear you up.
And a really smart and successful guy at his age, like,
Yeah, and he has big plans to come as well. Like it sounds like we nearly got the exclusive, but
and he just released a vlog as well. Check it out.
We're in it as well.
YouTube, I think it's the second ever vlog, Independence. I think he's trying to get into the vlogging and the YouTube side of things, and very good, good vlog, especially for his only second one ever.
Yeah,
so,
his first one was him in Spain with Welchie, so check that out as well. So that was our first 3 podcasts, very interesting guests, all from different backgrounds.
Loved them all, to be honest. Like I wouldn't even say that I have a favourite. Each one was different in its own way.
Yeah, and we learned something from each one.
Like, and each person gave us great time, like,
Yeah, exactly. They're all, and I suppose for us as well, kind of, it's growing us as well. Like we're getting more comfortable each and every one.
Yeah.
So again, like if you have any suggestions on who you want to see next, let us know. We are open to suggestions.
So yeah, let's look 3 podcast review. 3. This is number 4. Enjoying it all so far, and looking forward to what the future brings and what future guests we can get in. And I suppose we'll wrap it up there. Look, this has been long enough. And,
so we're definitely gone over the hour, aren't you?
Yeah. So guys, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget, I don't know if you've seen it on Instagram, we have a competition running at the moment, right?
Cork City Scarf, guys, signed by our very first guests, Shawnee and Kev. So this is run over on our Instagram story, or on our Instagram page, sorry. So all you have to do is go on our Instagram page. It's just Frankly Nuts. Just click that follow button and like the post and comment as well, and you're entered in the competition.
And we'll keep it open until, when did we launch it last Wednesday?
Wednesday, so we'll keep it open until Wednesday?
Until next Wednesday. Okay, so it's obviously Sunday night now, Wednesday. Okay,
perfect,
Wednesday. Like, share, and subscribe, as we said already.
Definitely like the video below if you've enjoyed it. Leave any suggestions. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at our Snapchat, everything, guys. We really appreciate it. All the shares.
As we said, we're a people's podcast, so any comments at all, always open to them. Constructive criticism, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see you next time, guys.
Catch you next time.
Peace.